Hello everyone and welcome to another Starcraft 2 bot video. For this one we're continuing our Gauntlet tournament series, our second season of this. And last we left off we actually had too many stalkers, a Protoss bot on a 2-game winning streak, able to defeat I believe it was Slava and then Valinors. And going up against a Zerg this time, against Candid Clam's Lila. So the number 60 bot. We can take a quick look at Lila here, see if there's any information. No biography, but we can see it is a Zerg bot built in Python, the most popular language for the botting scene at least. And yeah, so no information beyond that. So let's just go ahead and hop right into the game and see how too many stalkers and Lila fare here. So let me just switch over to this scene. Okay. Oh, yeah, there we go. And let's get rid of this thing. Nope. Yeah, okay. Let's do it. Okay, so spawning in the right-hand side, we have the red Protoss, the returning champion. It is too many stalkers, looking for the hat trick. And the new challenger this time is going to be Lila, the blue Zerg. Can already see how this is a newer bot, as the Overlord is not actually trying to find a position. But those are not important things when you're first making a bot. You really want to be doing this, you know, building drones, spending your larva, having some sort of game plan and some sort of way to attack. Even expanding is not a priority when you first get going. Although people take different routes at working on a bot. Some people like to just, you know, let me get the mining just perfect, and then let me work on, you know, just the way I manage my resources. And, you know, they to take it one step at a time so the bot will stay at a low level on the ladder for a long time, even though it's getting very, very complex. But then once you have all your bases done, it makes it very easy to transform it into a much stronger high-end bot. Yeah, there's no sound. Okay, there we go. Pool going down for Lila on about 19. Yeah, so hatch first into pool and then gas. Yeah, so pretty standard build. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, we do have too many stalkers taking fairly early double gas and double gateway into Cybercore, which is a nice safe one base opener, I suppose. Not very economical, but it will help protect you from various cheese. And I'm sure near the bottom of the ladder, the cheese is very running rampant, we'll say. In fact, even at the top of the bot ladder, the bots, it's very cheese centric, the bot meta. Because the nice thing about cheesing is you don't have to worry about a whole bunch of other things. You're kind of the one dictating how the game goes. So you don't have to like worry about reacting to 1,000 different things. You just have to worry about implementing that one thing you're doing. If you play more of a macro style and sitting back and getting a bigger economy, then you have to absorb all the different sorts of attacks that come your way, and that can be quite the task to code. Some things can be built generic enough that you can handle it. It is nice to face a new cheese and realize your bot can handle it just because of the coding you've done for other things. Roach Warren going down for the Zerg. And a good amount of resources in the bank there, instantly getting spent. So on a third hatch, and a whole bunch of roaches in the queue. He is going to be expanding the gold just nice, and expanding in front of the pylon, but I don't believe either can see the other. No, once this pylon finishes, too many stalkers will know about that hatchery. No, it won't. Wow. Okay. So this will be interesting. Roaches crossing the map. Do they see it? Yes. Do they care? No. Expansion coming down for too many stalkers, although the timing of it's going to be quite poor if these roaches keep traveling. Seems like they want to group up in the middle of the map first, though. And when I say the middle of the map, I actually think this is literally the middle of the map. If you take a look at the mini map, this is probably the center point. I guess it's a nice neutral place to keep your army where you can defend and attack from. Meanwhile, a stalker coming here. Let's see how they deal with this vision blocker. No kiting involved with the stalker, so that stalker will go down quickly. Another on the way. I guess they're trying to get over towards the pylon where he'll be warping in from. Roaches reacting, at least the original ones. It appears the roaches are rallied to the middle of the map, so they won't be getting any commands until they reach that position. That could become a problem later on if Lila is able to get through this game. As I could see a scenario where a whole bunch of move command roaches are getting picked off one at a time. Worker count is still growing slightly for Lila, although it has been very heavy on the roach production up until this point, so the drone count's quite low. However, 30 there, a couple even on the gold base now, and meanwhile the roaches are attacking in, and there is nothing for too many stalkers here. One zealot and one stalker will not be enough to even kill a single roach. He is tacking into, oh no, just more gateways. And even more gateways. +1 armor. It's an interesting upgrade choice. Usually with stalkers you should prefer the attack upgrade. Stalkers can do a good job of staying alive just through micro. You know, you have longer range than most attackers, they are faster than most attackers. Later on you even have things like blink. So where stalkers are kind of a, you know, not the highest DPS dealers, they're really good at being a jack of all trades and at being able to keep themselves alive easily while being mobile. Unfortunately, these gateways are getting picked off and not getting cancelled. Canceling structures that are low in health is actually a nice little generic thing you can write that'll work in like any instance, because there's basically never a scenario where when your structure gets really low that you don't want to cancel it. Fourth base going down for Lila and fully saturated now, well, somewhat saturated now on the gold base, so the income is skyrocketed up to a full 1900 minerals a minute. However, it's not actually that much larger income than Too Many Stalkers, as Too Many Stalkers was completely saturated on his two bases, where Lila was kind of lightly saturated on all Lila's bases. However, with that said, Lila has about, I don't know, 10 times the army supply here, 20 times. Bring up the army tab, you can see, yeah, that's a 3,000 value plus army versus a 0 army, so I'm going to go ahead and assume this game is over. Let's go ahead and speed it up a touch as we watch these roaches disappear the Protoss base. And there they go. Too Many Stalkers expanding to the gold while losing his main. Production tab showing just drones at the moment. And it doesn't look like Lila will have any issue finding the remaining bases, so the hopes of a draw is not really there. Although I guess the way I handle draws is there's not much of an advantage to forcing a draw. It's more just punishing your opponent. You don't get to go on either. I guess we could change it if the winner continues if there's a draw. Put the onus on the challenger to defeat the winner. Or we could redo the match. Anyways though, Nice little solid victory out of Lila there. We weren't watching too much on the macro at Lila's end, but we did see, it wasn't droning up quickly, but at the same time, it didn't stop droning and it didn't stop expanding. So eventually it got up to a serious economy going on here. No luck of expansions. Yeah, and roaches make for a solid army comp, at least in the early game, and with the what's the word I'm looking for? Oh man, my brain. Too early in the morning recording this. Well, with the way the Lila puts a lot of emphasis on building roaches early on, then it kind of is an early attacking army or early attacking strategy. So it makes the mass roach actually make sense. Maybe a bot that could, or an author that could make use of Rasper's Queen bot framework. Basically built a Queen framework where it can handle all the injecting, transfusing, and creep tumoring for you. As I can see, there's no creep tumors on the map. Although it does look like Lila's instituted the ability to inject at least one queen at each base. Probably easiest to alt F4. And we can go take a look at the next opponent here, right? So Lila has successfully beaten Too Many Stalkers, who ended on a 2-game win streak. And Lila will be taking on now the 59th ranked bot, who is actually the first random bot we've seen this season. Excess 1972 is a pure Zerg race bot. No, it's not. Nope. it says random. The biography is out of date. But I'm guessing the Zerg is probably its best race, as it looks like it started as a Zerg bot. Yeah, and it's a scripted bot like most bots are. There are a few bots that use machine learning, like Alpha Star. But machine learning, it's tough, really tough to make it learn anything that's even somewhat useful, we'll say. But so it's impressive when any machine learning is actually effective in the bot scene. Yeah, and another bot written in Python. So let me go ahead and I had this directory available. Now I closed it. Why did I do that? Gauntlet. Excess versus Lila. There we go. Let's load her up. So Zerg versus random. I think much like with the human scene, random bots are probably more likely to be cheesy because it's hard to learn the intricacies of like 9 different matchups and code that many different strategies and work out. But it's easy to create 3 different cheese builds, just kind of all in 3 different ways. So yeah, anyways, loot scene swapper didn't work. Okay, so and I shouldn't have swapped scenes until I hit the time, but no one noticed that. Anyway, standing in the top right, it is the random bot who got its original. Okay, the biography was right because it pulled Zerg. There you go. It's Excess 1972 with the GLHF. And the returning champ in the bottom left is the blue Zerg. It is Lila. So a mirror match. And we don't have many Zergs near the top of the ladder, but we do have a lot of Zergs coming up soon. Like right around the rank 40 to rank 50. Or rank 50 to rank 60, somewhere in there. We're going to be facing a lot of Zergs. So this may be the first of many ZVZs. We'll see. In the Probots tournament, which is coming up. And watch for a link for that at the end of this Gauntlet series, as I'm going to try to get all these Gauntlet games out and finished right around the time Probots begins. That's a tournament for the top 16 bots. And unfortunately, we only got 2 Zergs in there this season. So it's like half Terran and then like 6 Protoss and 2 Zerg. However, Eris being one of the Zergs is definitely capable of taking the whole tournament, so Zerg could get a good representation. Yeah, so we got a pool into gas for excess. Meanwhile, Lila went for the hatch first into pool and gas. So economic advantage for Lila if she can survive. Second gas coming for excess, so it's not just going to be like a Ling Rush or something. You're still building drones. Not getting speed. So, well, I guess they haven't mined 100 gas yet, so never mind. Excess floating 600 minerals, though. Okay, there is speed. Still droning. So not the most optimized build order. But with the queen out, we will get the injects going. That might help spend through this resources a little bit, but a second hatch would be highly useful right now. Or at least a roach warren, as that way your larva can spend through more of your resources than just drones and lings. And speaking of the roach warren, we do have one on the way from Lila on the other side of the map. So I'm kind of liking this for Lila, I would suspect. If we're seeing something similar to the previous game, where it's just going to be spamming roaches with a splash of drones here and there, I could see that working so well versus this one base play out of excess. Yeah, so the lings are on the way now. And there's a roach warren. Okay, I like that. That will be helpful. Because, well, I guess the resources actually aren't that high. A little over drones, but I guess that's okay. Oh no, he pulled off of gas. Yeah, so he's not over droned. Once he puts these back into gas, then the saturation will be correct. Yeah, I guess it's because he was high in minerals, or sorry, low in minerals and high in gas. And I suspect once the mineral count gets high again, that these, or once the gas gets low, he'll put these guys back in gas once more. Anyways, roaches. Roach warren is done, but no roaches on the way for excess. It's actually more Zerglings and burrow. Burrow micro could be really cool. It'd be a nice way to kind of regenerate, especially with the roaches, as roaches, at least when you get the roach speed upgrade, they get the huge boost on their burrow healing rate. A lot of people don't know this, but yeah, burrowed roach heals faster than medevac can heal a unit. I totally missed this, but access did expand, which is nice, and even morphing it into a layer. I like the idea of building a layer to natural. If you lose your natural base, you probably lost the game anyways, so why not try to defend your natural base as best you can? And putting an extra 500 hit points on your natural base is a nice way to help defend it. Okay, roaches are coming in, but not many of them, and they are going to get swarmed by the Zerglings. There's no upgrades on either side, so that's going to be pretty good for the roaches. However, with the queen assisting and just way more Zerglings than there are roaches, this will be good. Although, it's hard to tell what's going on with the micro here. Are they actually burrowing between cooldowns? Like, do they attack burrow and then when their attack is available again, they unburrow? That would be neat micro, except I think the animation time for burrowing and unburrowing is longer than the cooldown of a Zergling attack. I think what it was just buggy with the Zerglings. It looks like he wanted to burrow them at low health, but as soon as they burrow, they would unburrow immediately afterwards. So another set of roaches on the way, and they might intercept this hatchery. Let's see what happens here. This time, only a small set of Zerglings. So getting to pick off a bunch of Zerglings on their own, and then more Lings come over, but there's not that many of them. The queens are not able to participate in the fights until the very end. And now it's 3 queens, well 2 queens actually, third only joining now. against these roaches. However, they are able to burrow and keep themselves alive, which is nice. But with that said, now these 6 roaches are uncontested. Drones having to be pulled. Huge worker count lead, however, for Excess. So if you can hold this, you could. This game is definitely not over. We do have a third hatch out Lila, but again, the droning is very slow to get going. I'd really like to see Lila pump out some more workers before committing to this many roaches, but again, this is one of the things that make it difficult for Zerg. That decision making of when to drone and when to attack is something that's tough for bots. You over drone, you're just going to die to so many different things, and there's a lot of subtle indicators of like when it's safe to drone and when it's not to, that for a human to pick up easily, but for a bot to not get well. Not the time to be transferring drones over here. So worker count is starting to even up a bit. Actually, no, it's not. It's still double the worker count for Excess if you can just pull it together somehow. Like roach upgrade on the way, hydrogen on the way, but still only Zerglings being produced. It would be nice. You know, he's got a nice little bank too. If you could just turn that larva more efficiently into roaches or hydras, preferably roaches. Oh, there's infestors actually. No, those are queens. Never mind. Doesn't that look like an infestor when it's underground? Those ridges? Third base going down for Excess, but that's not the end of the world again. We're only facing a 20 drone count Lila, so it doesn't really matter that Lila's on 3 bases at the moment. What does matter is that Excess needs to get this game under control. I don't think it's going to happen with Zergling spam. We really need to see these higher tech structures being put to use with the production. Yeah, still just more Zerglings on the way. Oh, Queen even getting picked off before it can burrow. And at this point, I think it's looking like way too much. Having to pull the drones at the natural now. And now the drone count's even equal, so the only advantage that remained for Lila or for Excess has disappeared. I mean, I guess there's the burrowing advantage, but yeah, it's just too much. Production tab is still showing roaches for Lila, so the only hope would be if Lila switched into droning to stay alive. But even then, you'd still be dead because you'd be so far behind economically versus a 3-base Lila at that point. Yeah, so obviously when you think mid and late game, an army of pure roach doesn't seem very appealing. But when you're really going to put on a ton of pressure this early in the game, mass roach is just, it's like a perfect composition. You're out there killing before any sort of air threat exists, before many of the hard counters like large immortal counts or I don't know, siege tanks and walls are really on the map. And I think with that we can go ahead and speed this up. Excess is down to its final base and pulling workers to try to kill off the remaining 40 roaches or whatever the heck this is. Still no droning out of Lila. Looks like Lila is supply blocked at 106. That's how you know a bot is really all about the early game attack, is when you reach 106 supply, it's like, no, I've never planned for anything beyond the supply count, so who cares about overlords at this point? So Lila becoming the second bot to be able to defend its place in this tournament and continue on to a third match. Oh no, don't let the website be down now. No. Okay, good. The website was having issues for a while, but I think it's been all cleared up. So it's very unlikely for the site to go down. yeah, so Lila taking the victory, and now we'll be moving on to face Rookie Bot, which will be our second Terran we've seen in the series. And Rookie Bot is made by AI Labs NL, who is the author. And yeah, no biography, hasn't been updated for quite a few months, but yeah, still a bot that got put on the ladder. And just by the name of the author, I wonder if it actually involves any sort of machine learning, like AI right in the name. Scripted bots, I mean, it's really hard to define AI. Like a calculator, you could say, is AI technically, but AI usually means some sort of ability to learn things on its own, which doesn't really fit these hard-coded scripted bots that most of these bots are. So maybe Rookie Bot involves some sort of machine learning. No information on it though, so we'll just have to kind of figure it out in game. So let me go ahead and load up the next match. There it is. Why isn't this sorted by date? There we go. Oh. No, this is not good. I can show you what's going on here. This is from a different little ladder we had. You can see that this map is extremely tiny. It was kind of like a separate ladder we had just for like, what would happen if this was the case? So it's basically like a worker rush map ladder. But that's not what I wanted for this Gauntlet series, so I downloaded the replay. So let me just try to find a good one quick. Okay, so it's going to be Lila versus Rookie Bot. And it doesn't say the map or the competition. Okay. Okay, why are all the games that they played on this map? All right, here we go. Here's one. Replay, download, and we're in. Okay, let me get this set up here. And while that's loading, let me make sure none of the other replays I have downloaded are from that map. We'll figure it out afterwards. Okay. Let me just hide the timer and then we'll swap the scene and we'll hop into this. Okay, so once again, this is going to be Lila versus Rookie Bot. And Rookie Bot is a Terran. So let's hop into the match here. And we have Rookie Bot, the challenger, spawning in the top right as the red Terran. Meanwhile, in the bottom left, we have the blue Zerg. It is Lila. Going for 3 straight wins. Or has it already reached 3 straight wins? I'm so confused. Let's just commentate the game, turn off the brain. Yeah, so I expect we'll see the same thing out of Lila as we've seen in previous matches. It looks like that build order is meant for all races. So I expect to see a hatch first, into a pool, and then a gas. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Rookie Bot is gone Depot Barracks, leaving space for the add-on, which is nice. Structure management for Terran can be a little bit of a pain, in that it's very easy if you try to build all your buildings in your main base that you're going to accidentally wall things off, where like tanks will get stuck in your main, or other big units like Thors or even Hellions. Cyclones for sure. Second barracks going down, as well as an orbital. Orbital is a nice way to boost that mineral economy. And if you're going for a marine-centric build, which it appears this is, that's a good idea. However, Marines aren't going to be too strong versus roaches, so it's all going to be about the timing of this attack. However, with that said, it could be like the 2 racks expand. This could be macro play. We don't know yet. Yeah, and there you go. SCV is actually going to take an expansion. Not bad timing on that, as the main base is getting close to full saturation of 16 of 16. He actually has 17 workers right now, but 3 of them are active building structures. This kind of reminds me of like Halby's old mineral drill. Like how to do the basic mechanics of Starcraft and get high on the ladder without having to worry about strategy or, micro or fast clicking, Just SCVs, Marines, expansions. And don't forget supply depots. On the other side of the map, we do see the Roach Warren has gone down. The droning is continuing, but I suspect once this Roach Warren is done, we'll see the end of the drones. But Lila did get up to more drones this game, up to 24. Last game, she was stuck at 20. Yep, there goes another barracks. SCVs have actually stopped producing, unfortunately. Okay, now they're producing once again. So when there's no available patches, he doesn't produce SCVs. But it's kind of nice to keep producing them anyways, so you have some to transfer to your next base when it's available. It's also nice to start the orbital right away as well. But I kind of like this build. It's not as simplistic as just a Marine all-in. It's kind of like a macro mass Marine build. It's a nice starting point, because it handles like building supply depots, it handles producing units, spending all your money, expanding. But you don't have to worry about things like strategy or tech or taking gas. It's a nice way to simplify the game while still having like a good basis for a complex bot later on. Roaches are accumulating. Not heading to the center of the map this time, like in previous matches. More command starts going down. It doesn't look like we're going to see any orbitals beyond the first one, which is unfortunate. It would be more mules would be like the perfect addition to this sort of build. SCV count is stalled as well. Why? Okay, no, now the game produced again. Maybe it was a supply block or something and I missed it. Let's take a look at the units tab. We do have 30 Marines against 15 Roaches, which is exactly the same army supply. Although, Marines aren't that great versus Roach. Well, it's tough to say. I mean, you get enough of them. That base 1 armor on the Roach is so powerful versus Marines, which do very little damage per attack. That's what I'm a little worried about. Marines are actually going to be the aggressor. Some of the Roaches are in the main base, so you will get to probably attack half of Lila's army first. But Lila does have the defensive advantage. That is a lot of Marines, however. Let's see how this goes. Queens are going to be able to fight as well. Lila taking a 3rd base at the moment. And yeah, this looks pretty good for the Roaches, as I suspected. Not a terrible trade, however. It looks like there is focus fire going on out of Rookie Bot. You can see, like, usually only 1 unit is dropping in hit points at any one time. So there might be some sort of code to, like, always shoot the lowest hit point unit. Unfortunately, the stream of Marines is not stopping. There's no concept of, like, going back and rebuilding an army and pushing out again. However, with that said, these Roaches are not catching these Marines as they're coming in. If these Marines could just cluster up somewhat, then the Roach reinforcements wouldn't be as much of an issue. But yeah, coming in 1 Marine at a time, and just the reinforcements of Roaches, and this Queen is going to be able to handle it no problem. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map. Oh, and catching the Marines on move command too. Ouch. Yeah, I think this is the beginning of the end for Rookie Bot. I really wanted to see the continuing orbitaling and the continuing expanding. I had suspected it was generic code that did that, like when you're approaching saturation, expand to the next base. When that base is approaching saturation, expand to the next base. But it looks like it might have been more hard-coded to build my expansion at this point in the build order. And then, you know, there's no thought of a 3rd base. But if I were to suggest a nice macro, oh my gosh, is that a... That's an orbital. Finally, and gas geysers. Okay, there's a stage 2 to this build out of Rookie Bot. I feel like we may have seen this last season too. Unfortunately, it's far too late though. Well, the Roaches cannot see these high ground Marines, and that's causing issues for them. This handful of Marines might be able to clean up these Roaches, however, the reinforcements are pushing out. The 4th base is on the way. And Lila has 63 workers this time, so it is not stopping on 20 workers as we saw in the previous match. More move command Marines, and I think at this point we'll just speed up the match. Reaper and a Marauder, yeah, so there was some sort of transition there. Not sure about the 9-minute Marauder, or 9 minutes Reaper, but the Marauder is a nice idea. And there we have it. Lila is a victor yet again. So if we bring it back over here, we can see that too many Stalkers lost to Lila, who went on to beat Excess and Rookie Bots. That is the 3rd victory for Lila. Very, very nice. And now I see we have an issue with the next replay as the previous one, as it was on that flat 48 map, that little tiny one. So I'm going to go ahead and find a proper replay, which is going to be against Empty Seat. Yeah. And once again, it's not the easiest to find here. Oh my gosh. Every replay I'm clicking on is from that flat 48 map. You need to go further back in time. Is there a way to filter by the competition? Oh, there is. Okay, let's pick the proper season. In this one. There we go. Okay, so as we load up that replay, let's go ahead and take a look at empty seat here. Empty seat is written by MTC, another random bot. So that'll be interesting. And we got a bit of a biography. So it is a Python bot. The idea for empty seat came from me as a result of noticing that many bots made what seemed like weird mistakes that ought to... Let me just pause the replay. Made many mistakes that... where is it? Made what seemed like weird mistakes that ought to be simple to prevent. So how hard can it be to make a bot that doesn't make such mistakes? Predictably, it turned out to be harder than it looks. It might avoid some of the mistakes seen in other bots, but so far that generally means it ends up making different ones. At the time of writing, Empty Seat is still fairly new at the early stages of its development. It's a random bot that is intended to eventually have a wide range of possible strategies. It remains to be seen whether it will at some point be able to compete with the highest level of bots. And the last update was somewhat recently, back in April, which is a couple months ago. So perhaps still a live project. Anyways, we can just hop right into the game here and see if he can be the first to take out Lila. So empty seat will be the red Zerg spawning in the left-hand side. So once again, the random bot got Zerg. Meanwhile, the blue Zerg Lilac going for the 4th straight victory. This game is on Golden Wall, but some of these matches are going to be on the newest map set. It all depends if these bots are on the newest ladder season or not. Early Worker Scout out of empty seat, unless it's going to be some sort of proxy hatch. Nope, there goes the pool. So not much to see at this point in the game. I guess he sees the lack of a pool, but that said, he didn't check the entire creep, so... yeah, the scouting pattern needs to be a little bit stronger if you're going to make some hard conclusions off of this scout. Was able to catch the expansion. Double gas coming down now out of empty seats. Now he's fully saturated his minerals. It's an interesting way of doing it. You know, get that max minerals saturation and only then consider adding gas. Which could be good if you're going... actually, it's probably not good for anything, but... For Zergling speed, the gas comes too late. For roaches, the gas, you get the gas in time, but you don't need double gas for roaches. So maybe if you want to open roach and get a quick layer, for instance, this would make a lot of sense. But only one worker going in each gas geyser means this is a good amount of gas if you're trying to make roach. And as I say that, we do have a Evo chamber coming down. I thought for sure that was going to be a roach warren. And there goes the first creep tumor. Meanwhile, Empty Seat is taking a hidden expansion. Interesting. Slowly increasing the gas intake. Looks like the gas is not based on any sort of build order or how much gas do I need or how much gas do I want. It's more based on, am I fully saturated on minerals? If yes, then start putting drones in gas. So really focusing on maxing the mineral income. Which is good. Early game, everything you really want to be building is minerals. Queens, hatcheries, drones, zerglings, even roaches are the majority minerals. Overlords. So I don't mind that sort of play. There will be a lack of a queen over here. I guess he's not going to walk one over there. That would be quite the travel time. So I guess produce a queen over at that base when necessary. Nice little start of this creep spread. I like how he puts it right at the edge of his creep when he can. That does mean he's not injecting, however. Meanwhile, same old out of Lila. The only difference I'm seeing here is that the Roachon was put down at the natural. I could see that becoming an issue if Lila is put on the defense, but I suspect we're not going to see Lila on the defense. Continuing to drone. Last time we saw ZVZ, it stopped droning at 20. This time, not having that issue. Getting up to 28 drones and a decent amount of roaches. Meanwhile, Empty Seat is actually transferring 3 queens over to this base. Hopefully the crate spread is going to be able to connect these bases somewhat soon. And melee and missile upgrades. That's interesting. I mean, I suppose the queens will get a bonus to missile upgrades when they attack air. Is the ground attack missile upgrade? Probably. Yeah, but I like the idea of upgrades in general. Bots don't value upgrades enough. Obviously, it's something that takes a long time to pay for itself, but, you know, once you reach later in the game and you haven't been upgrading, you're just at such a massive disadvantage to a bot that has been upgrading during that time. So obviously, a strategy like Lila's of just smashing roaches in your opponent's face, you probably don't want to get upgrades. They probably won't. The game won't go long enough for them to pay for themselves. But if you're planning for a much longer game, or even the possibility of a much longer game, then you want to get started on those upgrades right away. One is about to complete. No layer on the way though, so 2-2 will not be able to start. Perhaps armor could get started. Yeah, actually armor is started. So it's going to be all 3 upgrades at level 1 for Access. Now, as I say that, what is Access actually, or not Access, sorry, Empty Seat actually producing? His army tab is 750, 900 minerals. I think that's all queens, isn't it? Yeah, just drones and queens at the moment. So it's super greedy. Oh boy. Access, how are you going to survive this? You got the economy to survive it. Can you possibly ever get units to deal with this? Layer is on the way. The other thing is, can Lila find these other bases that are way up in the north? Right, that could be an issue. Unfortunately, losing the layer is going to be difficult, and all the tech is over here as well. I guess the tech right now is just a spawning pool, however. I guess technically an Evo chamber is tech as well. Re-expanding up here, rebuilding the Evo chamber that died. So I'm guessing when the pool goes down, that'll probably get rebuilt as well. No, pool is not getting rebuilt. Still droning his excess. It's like, yeah, I'm good. Just add more to the economy here. Meanwhile, Lila is taking a 4th base and a 5th base on her side of the map. Uh-oh. Will Lila be able to find the additional bases? Queen's going down, but also... Oh. Oh, the layer finished, so he was able to start the +2 melee upgrade before the layer went down. This is a problem. Okay, that's a way to expand. Maybe when he sees a creep tumor over here, it'll draw his army back. Or her army back, I guess. Lila? Oh, wait, she's off somewhere. Okay, she found this hatchery going up. That's some progress. I mean, army tab is still, it's 4,000 plus versus 1 queen. Fully saturated at the gold. I mean, 100 workers, the economy is just through the roof. Did find the creep tumor, so it gave him something new to attack towards. So maybe somehow Lila can get drawn into the opponent through creep tumors. The other thing is Lila may attempt to expand to one of these bases, and when doing so, we'll see the enemy hatchery and attack over there. It looks like Empty Seat is back up to 4 queens with 3 more on the way. Perhaps this is just a mass queen strategy or something, although he does get a lot of gas. There's got to be some sort of game plan to build something, right? Retaking his main base. Second gold being taken by Lila. Evo chamber in the middle of the map gets taken down. Drone getting spotted. Evo chamber getting rebuilt. Yeah, so no... Oh, okay, the spawning pool got rebuilt. No layer yet. No roach warren. Wait, that's Empty Seat Spinecrawler. That's not a defensive Spinecrawler there. Random Zergling out. These roaches really want to kill these creep tumors. They're not even there anymore. They're not even visible. So it must be like this is the last known location of an enemy unit. But meanwhile, there's Zerglings picking you apart all over the map. You got spines over here. You got more spines going up inside this base. We got workers going all over the map. I don't know what's happening with them, but they are all getting picked off by Zerglings in the middle. What a match. Meanwhile, Empty Seed has quietly gone up to a 5 base economy and is really messing up Lila's economy big time. These roaches are headed somewhere. Taking out these spines. So it's nice that they're crossing the map at least, so then they might catch units out there. But he needs to either defend or attack. These roaches need to get a little bit more brains. Now, it looks like they saw creep tumors here at some point, so they're really trying to attack where these creep tumors once were. I had a similar issue with my bot at one point where I kind of used A move to attack enemy units. But whenever I saw a changeling, I would try to kill it with A move. Which basically means every changeling was like a lockdown, because you can't A move changelings. So all my entire army would just follow a changeling around instead of doing anything it's supposed to do. Like defend my base or attack. Yeah. I mean, Lila is still an A move away from victory, but I suspect that this game is going to slowly but surely become empty seats. Even somehow expanding over here. He must have sent a drone through... Oh, he mined out the wall in the back. That's pretty advanced. Main base is down for Lila. Most bases under attack here. Roach is still not making any progress killing those creep tumors that are not visible. A couple more spines going up to attack this space over here. I'm assuming these are excesses, or I keep saying excess. Empty seats as well. Lila needs to like see a hatchery or something along those lines. If that happens, I could see all the roaches heading towards that hatchery and causing like a chain reaction of taking down bases. So I'm not going to speed up this game yet, but it's looking really bad for Lila at this point. Now, Lila does not actually require an economy. Look at that bank. Although Lila's only trying to rebuild the drone count, so this bank is not going to be helpful in building roaches. The 15-minute spine crawler rush going on here. This is actually empty seat space under those overlords. I mean, Lila has killed 200 Zerglings with these roaches, so they're not doing nothing. But they're certainly not winning the game. And in fact, this might be an elimination issue here. What structures do we have left for T structures? We got one hatchery and one extractor remaining. These are the last two structures for Lila. Last queen goes down. That was defending it. Spinecrawler is up. Some Zerglings have arrived. There's even a roach here. These roaches still have an insane kill count, most of them in double digits. Or some of them in double digits at least. Final extractor. Zergling's working away on it. No way for Lila to defend. And we have the comeback victory by empty seat. Very nice. Not the highest level Starcraft we've ever seen, but very interesting nonetheless. Not the way I expected that game to play out. Yeah, so that actually threw off the replays I downloaded. Because once I picked the correct map, it changed the victor. So everything changes from this point forward. I thought it was going to be Lila versus Crustacean next, but instead it is going to be our new champion, who is Empty Seat versus Crustacean. So, yeah, let's find the next match manually here. Crustacean, competition, S02AI, season 1. Okay. Okay, so as I load the replay here, let's go take a look at the next opponent. So Crustacean is by Dan the Man, who is a veteran bot maker and actually someone who helps maintain the ladder we are looking at right here. Yeah, and probably best known for his bot Dan the Man 3, which is a fairly high level Terran bot. This one says C++. I wonder if that's actually true. I haven't known Dan to make a bot in C++, but it could be true. This will be interesting. And yeah, so let us do not load the replay. Do not load the replay. Loading as we speak. I guess what we can do is take a look at Dan the Man here. Yeah, so he's got a few bots. Yeah, the other ones are all in Python. But yeah, I guess this one is C++. Very interesting. Okay, let me go ahead and get this game open here. Production tab, and here we go. So, spawning in the bottom left, we have the returning champ. After beating the long-term champion Lila, it is Empty Seat. This time as a random bot getting Protoss. And sending out an early probe scout. Or maybe a cannon rush, well, let's see. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, we have Crustacean, the blue Terran, by Dan the Man, who may be his first C++ bot, but definitely a veteran of Terran bots. I think all of his bots are Terran. So you can probably port some of that code he wrote in Python over to C++. Well, we have a pylon, gateway, and gas coming out of Empty Seat here, followed by a second gas. Probe following the same scouting pattern as last time, but this time getting all the information it needs. It sees the double barracks and the zero gas. Well, now it sees the zero gas. Okay. Even stealing some minerals. What a guy. All right, so again, fully saturating the minerals, and then any excess probes beyond that point will be going into the gas geysers. So allowing for that maximum mineral income. Crustacean, meanwhile, just finishing up gas of his own and continuing to build 2 Marines at a time. Orbital is complete. And it mules. All right. Very nice. These bots are getting slightly more complex here as we're slowly moving up this ladder. I think we're, what, number around 58 on the ladder, something like that? I guess I can check really quickly. We are, Dan the Man is, I guess that page loads slowly. We'll find out in a moment. Dan the Man sending out a probe to do something. Ooh, proxy nexus. Interesting. Well, not proxy, but ninja nexus, we'll say. Yeah, Crustacean's number 56 on the ladder. Yep. So we're slowly getting up there. Somewhat of a wall going down. Walls aren't too important unless you're facing Zerg. But versus certain compositions you want it. Against like a lot of charge lots, against Hellion run-bys. You might need it versus the other races, but certainly versus Zerg you want it. Zerglings are just too overwhelming. You can... Basically, if a map was completely open and you could pass through structures, then there'd be no way for Zerg to lose with the Zergling rush. They can just build too many of them too quickly, and you need that advantage of denying their surface area while shooting from range. Meanwhile, we do have a decent amount of zealots coming out of Crustacean here. If we bring up the Unisab, we see 6 zealots on the field. No expansion, however. Yeah, so the resource management is not ideal because the fact that he's spending all of his... Oh wait, no, he does have an expansion. It's even a ninja base to the observer here. Totally forgot about this. Okay. So I thought he was spending all of his minerals on zealots, which is denying him from being able to expand, but I kind of forgot he had this ninja base over here. Meanwhile, second orbital completes for Dan the Man. He's going to push out with a nice little squad here. We got some Marauders, some Marines, and what do we got for upgrades? We have no upgrades yet, but combat shield's on the way, and concussive shell's on the way. Concussive shell is a quick enough upgrade that it may be done in time for this attack. It finishes in 30 seconds. Probably finished just in time for this attack to be over. So, but it would be really nice to have it versus zealots. Assuming these units have the ability to kite backwards as they shoot, which it appears they do. Well, kinda. Looks like the ones in the back are preventing the ones in the front from heading backwards. Or I don't know what's happening. Each unit's getting heavily microed, but not actually moving. Like, look at all those clicks. Bringing up the APM tab, we're at 40,000 APM with this army. And that is it for the zealots. Yeah, Stargate is not going to save you at this point in the game. A little late for that. Even like pushing in here, which is nice. That way you don't get stuck on the ramp. He's also like stuttering in to get at these probes. Yeah, the micro's a little wonky, but it's trying to micro. So A for effort. Gateway does go down before that zealot pops out, so we do have some rebuild happening over here. The question is, can Dan the Man finish off the game, or will he pull a Lila and just kind of hang out where he last thought a base was? Cybercore go down before +1 air weapons was done. I guess there was grand plans for Stargate play there. Cybercore attempting to be rebuilt where there's no pylon. And siege tanks have actually joined into the fight. And if we click on these workers, they are on the hunt. He knows the opponent is not exposed, but at the same time, oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah, try to hide a structure through this web. I dare you. And as he gains sight of this, the web disappears and our entire army comes over here and tries to find this base. That was insane. I've never seen anything like that before. I do something similar when I check all the expansions and the opponent's not exposed or revealed yet. But I just give a single command. I don't chain a whole bunch of them like that. Like, I don't queue up a bunch of random movement commands. So my units will move in the same way, but they won't make that crazy web. which is unfortunate because that crazy wave looked awesome. Actually, in thinking about that, that's queuing up moving commands is actually a good idea. Because the way I do it is just like, okay, when I'm searching any one of my idle army units, I give it a random command to go somewhere. Say go here, and then when it arrives there, I'll give it and goes idle again. I'll give it another command. But what happens if I give it a command to like move here, like a marine? Will it come here and just like wiggle around and never get another command, or will it go idle? Yeah, actually, I guess it would go idle. And if it didn't go idle, then queuing up more moving commands wouldn't help anyways. So, yeah. No advantage beyond the awesome looking web. Let's go back and check that out again. That is awesome. The funny thing is, though, if you did have a command center floating back, well, I guess you can't. Protoss can't have a floating command center, but is there actually a spot to hide a nexus? Definitely not. Maybe a spot to hide a pylon. Oddly enough, he actually barely, the web barely reached into this area. It's funny how he kind of, the one place in the map he didn't check well is the one place in the map where Crustacean, or where empty seat was. So that was a fun one, and that is a... Oh man, I thought I played the wrong game there for a second. Like, wasn't he playing Dan the Man? But Dan the Man's the author of Crustacean. So that's alright. So yeah, Dan the Man's Crustacean will move on, knocking out Empty Seat, who we got to see in a couple random games from, which is nice. And we'll end the video here, but coming up next, we will have Tony Ba as a Protoss, Rusty Locks as a Terran, and then a lot of Zergs after that. Looks like 6 of 8 Zergs to follow. We'll get to see all of Lucid's bots as well. He has a Zerg, a Protoss, and a Terran, which all seem to be ranked at a similar level, which is kind of ironic. And Paul, which is one of the co-authors of the best Zerg bot nowadays. We'll get to see his original bot called Paul, who, if you like Nidus play, you'll probably be in for a treat. Paul loves Nidus Worm rushes. So, yeah. So that's what will be coming up next. Thank you everyone for tuning in. And yeah, good luck, Crustacean, and keep that win rate going. I think it can too. That looked nice. The build order was like decent. It was expanding well. It was getting like a bio mix with upgrades and adding in tanks afterwards. That seemed like a strong bot. So I suspect Crustacean might go on a little bit of a roll. We'll have to see. Yeah, so thank you everyone, and I'm out of here. Goodbye.